Okay, here's what Mr. LaPierre had to say about mental health privacy records. The blood-drenched head of the NRA wants to know if you are going to see a psychiatrist to get some Prozac because you had a rough time in your life or something, or whatever. You know, I mean, people go see psychiatrists for a lot of reasons. Sometimes they go to see psychiatrists just to improve, you know, already reasonable mental health. You don't have to be crazy or depressed or sad or angry or homicidal to go see a shrink. In fact, a lot of very, very healthy, very wise people go see shrinks and get healthier and wiser. And sometimes not, depending on the shrink. But that's a whole nother topic that we can talk about someday. And my book, Walking Your Blues Away, etc. But anyhow, here's Wayne LaPierre, Mr. Drippy Blood, on this clip.
We need to look at the full range of mental health issues, from early detection to treatment to civil commitment laws to privacy laws that needlessly prevent mental health records from being included in the National Instant Check System.
Hey, that's just what we all need. You know, I recently got one of those you two can fly with the short line things from the TSA where you got to go in and get your fingerprint and all that kind of, which they already have. I mean, you know, I didn't consider it any big deal. And you sit there through the interrogation, and the guy, you know, have you ever been arrested? You know, right. Now, I've never been to a psychiatrist. I've never been institutionalized. I've never, you know, although I've spoken to a lot of conferences full of psychiatrists. I've written 7 books on psychiatry, psychology, and psychotherapy. I've done trainings. I've taught trainings, but I've never formally been a patient of anybody. But if I had, I would have found it pretty damn offensive if one of the questions would have been, have you ever seen a psychologist or a psychiatrist or a psychotherapist? And tell me about it. I mean, because, you know, do you think that somebody who went to see a shrink because they have, you know, compulsions to shoot people would say, well, I went to see the shrink because I just have these dreams all the time about killing people? No, I don't think they're going to say that. And if they did say that to their psychiatrist, and their psychiatrist has to put that into the database, into the database to get a gun permit, what's next? I mean, what happened to patient-client privilege? What's going to happen if you do that? What Wayne LaPierre is suggesting. I mean, you know, one of the many side effects. And we saw this, by the way. This is called mandatory reporting. We saw the same thing with certain types of abuse, particularly child abuse laws. In some states, they have. In fact, I think it's now federal mandatory reporting of certain types of child abuse. And so the result of that is fewer people seek help. Because they know that if they go in and they talk about what they're doing, they're going to end up, you know, the psychiatrist, as soon as they walk out the door, is going to have to dial 911 or file a report, which is the equivalent. So, A, it's not going to stop people who are homicidal. B, you come up with a list of people who are depressive and potentially suicidal, which is the majority of these cases. The majority of these cases are people committing suicide and taking others with them. And so if you come up with a list of people who are suicidal, and now you've got to publish that list so that people get asked about this when they get driver's license? You kill people with a car. A lot of people do. This is why I say, you know, people who own guns and guns themselves should have liability insurance the same as cars. The reason why we have that liability insurance is because you can kill people with a car. Isn't it bizarre that if those 20 kids in Newtown, Connecticut at Sandy Hook Elementary School, if those 20 kids had been crossing the street and they'd been hit by a drunk driver going 60 miles an hour in a school zone, they'd be just as dead. But Geico or whatever, you know, Allstate, I mean, pick your car insurance company, would be paying out anywhere from $250,000 to a couple $1 million to each one of their families because of the liability insurance that everybody in the state of Connecticut is required to carry on their car. I don't know what the minimum is for the state of Connecticut. Maybe somebody in our chat room can track that down and let me know during the break. But there would be money. So these grieving families could at least pay for their funerals, pay for some therapy to hold their families together, because one of the main consequences of having a child die is within the next 5 years, divorce. And one of the secondary consequences for siblings is suicide at some point in their life. And that can be prevented by good treatment, by good therapy, good post-traumatic stress disorder therapy. Get in there, do some good EMDR with these people, do some good, there's so much that can be, but it costs money. Why is it that if these kids had been killed with a car, their families would all have enough money to cover those costs? And probably some of these families, I mean, you spend a few weeks off work, your kid just died, you're grieving, you're dealing with funerals, you're dealing with everything. You might end up losing your job, you're losing pay. I mean, why is it that if these kids have been killed with a car, there would be money to cover that, but because they were killed with guns, with bullets, there wasn't one damn penny? Why? Because of the NRA. Clip number 3.
Law-abiding gun owners will not accept blame for the acts of violent or deranged criminals, nor do we believe that government should dictate what we can lawfully own and use to protect our families.
No, but you should accept blame for the easy availability of guns, which makes the United States #1 in the world in gun-related homicides and, frankly, more importantly, gun-related suicides. When I was 18 years old, my best friend, who was occasionally depressed because he had a gun handy, blew his brains out. That happens way too often in America, twice as often as homicides.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program. Call 866-987-THOM.
Wayne LaPierre really should crawl back under the rock that he came out of. 27 minutes past the hour.